Haley also weighing in on the Supreme Court's decision to hear arguments over Mr. Trump's claim that he's immune from criminal prosecution for allegedly trying to overturn the 2020 election.
I love my mom. She's fantastic. I was in Florida visiting her. And, for the first time in, I think, 15 years, I agreed with her because she wanted me to spend time with her before I left to sit there while she watched Meet the Press. And it is such utter garbage. It is such warmed over, repeated, stupid conventional wisdom.
I watched that election and I thought the election was over at 10 o'clock in the evening.
You were listening to your instincts.
My instincts are a big part of it. That's been the thing that's gotten me to where I am, my instincts. But I also listen to people. There are many lawyers. I could give you many books. There are books that are written on how the election was rigged. There are numerous books that were written on how the election was rigged.
Just to be clear, were you listening to your lawyer's advice or were you listening to your own instincts?
I was listening to different people, and when I added it all up, the election was rigged.
And they shared that New York Times poll without sharing the internals that were screwed up, without sharing another poll that came out that showed Biden up 1, which I'm sure is also screwed up. But if you're going to share one screwed up poll, you might as well share another screwed up poll in the other direction, or share neither of them. It was such a stupid
if we're going to be responsible, if we're going to be responsible reporters, we don't need to talk about polls.
Yes,
we need to talk about the issues. I'm tired of hearing your made up numbers, because I can generate a poll to say anything that I want. We're not baseball commentators. We should be doing, who exposed McCarthy? Oh, was it the press? Yes. Right. But are we doing that today? No. And in fact, we don't have. And the biggest problem is this is a part of corporate media. When I first walked into that White House press room, it was Helen Thomas who said, "Brian, I want you to, she introduced me, and then she introduced me to Sam Donaldson. And Sam said, Brian, I want you to look at the first row this was the Brady briefing room before they called it the Brady briefing room. He said, look at that first row in the briefing room, 7 seats. There's 200 years of experience in there. Learn from all of them. Today, if you're lucky, 35 to 50 years experience?
Kid and somebody from Newsmax and who the hell knows?
Well, that first row is supposed to be, other than Jeff Mason, who has a lot of experience, there's no one on that first row that has any experience.
I don't know.
I have another question that you probably were not expecting.
Okay.
Does President Biden want to limit Americans to 2 beers a week?
Where is this coming from?
They're not reporters in any sense.
That's always been kind of the case, too. There was a guy back during I think it was Reagan and the first.
I remember that crazy guy that would yell stuff out and go, what was his name? And go on forever.
He was a former defrocked minister, and he always asked about Bigfoot and other kinds of crap.
But having one funny guy there is different than having half the room be filled with people that should in no way or shape.
Well, that's because there's no one of any experience. They come in fresh out of college and they think they're part of the in crowd, and that's why you have all the access journalism, is because it's overwhelming, the power. You have to have some experience to understand that you're fighting against that. That no matter, even if I like the guy. I mean, it was, Sam once told me, he said, Brian, if I'm doing my job right, you won't know who I voted for, because I'm going to give everyone equal amounts of. Now, some people deserve more criticism than others, but the questions will start out the same place.
My thing is,
answers.
Look, if the Democratic Party is, to pick a number, doing 98.6% of the bad shit, then the Democratic Party should be covered badly 98.6% of the time. And vice versa, which is without fear or favor. I don't care what party you're in. I don't care what religion you are.
We don't do that.
Gender you are. I don't give a shit about anything. If you are breaking the law, if you are corrupt, if you are sharing disinformation that's getting people killed, if you're doing this stuff, we're going to destroy you. Instead, Kristen Welker has a seat open for you on the next show. I'm picking on her because that show's so influential and she's the worst. But she's far from the only one. And you know this. There's numerous ones, even on so-called liberal stations like MSNBC. You got people like Katie Tur sitting there and others that are just a joke. And they allow right-wing propaganda to be spread across their network. They jump on it. So again, to go back, maybe we got
because of this, Cliff. It's right. Because of this.
That's why more nonprofit media breaking up conglomerates and holding people really, Dominion
accountable. But you have to have the education and experience.